I know it's hard for a lot of people right now. The internet and social media just make it so easy to see all of the struggle and anger and frustration going on in the world right now. With all of it so obvious, I'm sure there are people who are understandably asking, why is God allowing this? This question is huge, and it's most definitely going to be one that I revisit many, many times over. You might hear the word theodicy, which is just the Greek phrase that means justifying God. There's also just the more common phrase, which is the problem of evil. But it all revolves around this question of why God allows evil if he is perfectly good. People have been asking this question for literally longer than we know, and there have been so many different responses. And of course, eventually we're going to get into each of those different responses, but today we're going to go a little bit of a different direction. We're going to look at it from kind of a different perspective. But before we do that, there's something that I have to make clear. If you're somebody who is asking this because you're deeply hurting right now, an answer probably isn't going to help you. I could give you the most comprehensive, complete answer to this question, but it probably wouldn't be satisfying because this question is often used as a deflection of the question that we really want to be asking. How can I stop hurting? We ask for a reason because oftentimes a reason feels like something that we can hold on to, something that we can control. And if we can control it, then somehow we can stop the hurt. But what's often hard to accept is that sometimes the only healing comes from time and love. So if you're someone who's asking this question because you're genuinely hurting right now, I want you to know that you probably don't need answers to this question. You need Jesus. But okay, what about the question itself? With the world the way it is, why is God allowing this? And one last time, this isn't a direct answer, but just kind of a different perspective on it. Imagine there's a home specifically for people who are scared of going outside. I hesitate to use the word agoraphobic because it's a very real illness that I haven't studied and I don't want to misrepresent it. So I'm just going to stick with the phrase people who are scared of going outside. Now, this house is built by a doctor whose specific goal is to bring these people to a place where they're free from their illness. Of course, over time, with people living in the house, there's wear and tear. Some of it minor, some of it major, some of it gets fixed over time, and some of it doesn't. And so the people in the house keep asking, why doesn't the doctor come in and fix everything in the house? Why doesn't the doctor make it so things never get broken again? But what they're not comprehending is that the goal of the doctor isn't a perfect stay in the house. The doctor cares so much more about the sessions he has with the people, the time he spends with them, and if they can be free from their illness. The purpose of the time in the house is to learn from the doctor how to be free, not to have a perfect house. In the same way, most of us are people who are scared to leave this world. And so when things go haywire in the world or in our life, we can ask why God doesn't just fix everything. But like the doctor in our metaphor, God cares so much more about our time with him on this earth and where we're going when we leave this earth. What he wants more than anything is for you to live your life with him and be free from your sin so that you can spend eternity with him in heaven. It's not about having a perfect world. It's about finding perfection in him, about living the way that he would and then being with him in the next life. So yes, there are a lot of other ways to answer why God would allow these things to happen, and I'll get to those eventually. And I don't want to imply that God doesn't care what's happening on earth, because he truly, deeply does. But for today, remember that in the same way that the doctor cared more about his time and sessions with the people, the way that they were growing away from their illness, and the way that they left that house, God cares more about our time and relationship with him, the way that we're growing away from our sin, and where we're going when we leave this earth.